Hey guys, Jason here from Timberfalls, home for CNC creators like you. Welcome to Maker Plus Mastery, the Shape and Create series, where we take a deep dive into Carveco Maker Plus to bring your creative projects to life. In each episode, we'll be exploring a new tool or technique to teach you the fundamentals to the finer points of relief creation within Carveco Maker Plus. Whether you're here to master a specific skill or just here to see what's possible, you're in the right place. In today's episode, we're going to be zoning in on the Shape Editor tool. This is a fundamental feature within Carveco Maker Plus that's all about giving shapes to your ideas. Whether you're creating simple lettering or an intricate relief design, the Shape Editor is the key to unlocking it all. With that said, let's get started. I started a new project and I have a 80 by 80 material size here. I'm going to need some vectors, so I'm going to use a star vector to create a star. And this will be our vector that we're going to use to give shape using our shape editor. So if we open up our shape editor, we have our three different shape profiles: round, square, and plane. Below that, we have the angle of this plane, square, and round. Now, because a plane is flat, we only have a 0 angle because it's just a plane. So that this doesn't have any effect when on the plane selection. It only has an effect for the square and the round. Then we also have down here our start height, and this will be the base height of the shape. If I put in 1 inch here and I turn this so that you can see that we've now added our 1 inch of material. And this is the basis of how the shape editor tool works. You have add, subtract, we have our merge high, merge low, and replace function. And these all work the same way as you would in combining models. And if you don't understand how these work, I go over this in my ultimate guide for 3D creation, which I'll link right up top. You also have a scale factor right above that allows you to scale this by a factor. It's by default by 1. You probably won't use this. Below that, we have our node editing options. We have the display virtual midpoints and maintain smooth curve. We're going to uncheck the maintain smooth curve because we're using a star. Now, the reason the vector nodes are highlighted is because this shape is active and can be changed. If I grab one of these vectors and move them, the shape also moves in real time. And this is so that you can see what you're doing as far as moving all of your shapes around. Let's go back up and I'm going to select the square. Because we still have a 1 inch start height, we still carry that 1 inch base. If we remove this, our star will start from the material surface, and the star angle is this angle from the vector to the middle of the shape. You can adjust the angle of that star by moving the slider up and down, and it can go into the negative too. But you have to be careful because you will get down below the surface of the material if you don't have any kind of start height or start material for it to get into the negative width. We also have our angle down below here where we can type in a particular angle, a 20 degree, a 30 degree. Below that, we have our limits to the profile shape. And the first one we have is limit to height. Now, what limit to height is going to do is it's going to create a limit to the height of our point. So if we enter a height of say 0.75, then this shape is only allowed to go up to 0.75, and then the shape will be flat on top. And you can see that represented here. We can actually move this in and out. Now, a little trick is to have this at a really high angle. You can create a relief with a little bit of chamfer in its sidewalls, and the sidewalls will come out much smoother. And you can see that if we angle just a little bit down, about 60-degree angle or so, that you can get a very smooth sidewall surface. But you can get up pretty high, and it's not until you get to the vertical where you're at 90 degrees that you're up and down. And if just by chamfering that ever so slightly, you can smooth this out or smooth the sidewall down some. And then by using a smoothing tool, you can either refine this down even further. And this is a good way to build chamfered bases for your particular projects. Like now, if you're going to use another vector inside of this one, you could stack the shapes using the merge tools by adding or merging or subtracting. Below that, we have our scale to height. And what scale to height does is it just limits the height of the overall point from the edge. So at our same 0.75, as we change this angle down, it tries to maintain that same height at the 0.75. And we're only altering the angle at which the star is trying to go to. The one underneath this is our constant height, and the constant height gives us a constant height between the corner and the center, given by the corner angle here. And what that means is we have a height of 75. As I change my angles of degrees, it's not doing very much because it's being controlled by this corner angle. If I change this corner angle down to say 90, you can see how it raised this corner up because it's at a much sharper angle. Now I'm going to go back to the 150, and you can see that now that angle is much sharper. If we went to like say 320, it would even be less or less sharp. And then as we adjust our angle down closer and closer to the flat plane, we start getting close to that angle. But mostly it's controlled right here from this corner, 150. So that's the difference between the constant height, the scale to height, and the limit to height tool. The limit to height is really neat because of the way it can make a flat profile. The same thing with the round tool. The round tool is just like the square tool, except instead of sharp edges, it just rounds that profile out. And with the limited height, you're just making a rounded edge from the ground. So in this example, at 90 degrees, we actually have a 90-degree slope or bevel that goes up this rounded edge here, or round over. And that's a good way to build a flat but beaded star look. So then if we hit apply, we now have that shape saved in there. If I click on the vector again and I change the shape, we are then adding the two together. And in this example, I actually have my rounded base that leads up to this chamfered star, which gives me a slope that then comes up to a flat plane, introducing an angle or a chamfer that still allows us to go to the base. And this is all because we're limited to the height here to 0.75 inches. Now, the round base was 0.75 inches, and we have this other part added to the top of that. So our actual height is 1.5 inches. But with these two added together, we're able to add these two shapes together and create this different look. And then the same thing if we do it in the subtract. Now we can bring it back to the flat plane of 0 because we had a 0.75 start and then a 0.75 subtract. Now we've created just this shape that is the inside or edge of this star. And you can actually make cool looking border vectors or borders around that sort of slope in. We could add a base height back in and create a dish like this by saving this. Let's apply this and save this. Now if we click back on our star and we go to the plane, we can go to add and then add in a 1-inch plane or a 1-inch base, and we've created a raised recessed star with some rounded edges here that slope down inside to the star here. And you could quickly see that with the power of the shape editor, you can create a lot of different shapes and textures And guys, that's the Shape Editor tool with Carveco Maker Plus. Before we part ways, a quick reminder to check out our discount codes in the description below for some sweet deals on your CNC essentials. Your support through these codes helps us keep creating the content you love. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share this video, and if you really want to join the Timberfalls journey, consider becoming a YouTube member. Membership not only supports the channel, but also brings perks like early video access, video shoutouts, and an exclusive invite to a private Discord channel where we can talk about our CNC projects and share the things that we build. And to check out some of our new merch, head over to our YouTube store and on timberfalls.us. Your support means the world to us and it keeps the bit spinning. Until next time, let's keep crafting, keep sharing, and let's make bit happen. See you on the next one.